Hello guys and welcome to another video from betfairtradingcommunity.com. The same one as last week, but this week hopefully with sound. You'll have to let me know if there is sound, please. God, let there be sound. Basically we're going to talk about bankroll management. This is an update I actually wrote, when was it? At the end of January, so about a week ago now. And it's really important because I wrote a piece on bankroll management many years ago and it's been so popular. It's really popular with Betfair traders. I get loads of comments and feedback from it all the time. People saying it's actually helped them in their journey to becoming a Betfair trader, Betfair Pro trader. And that excites me because bankroll management is so important, okay? So I'm not going to go through this article that's written here. If you do want a copy of this, if you want me to send you the link easily, just comment in the comments and obviously I'll send you the link to it, make it really easy for you guys. But the reality is that Betfair trading hasn't changed a ton over the last few years. But what has changed is that we've done obviously a lot of research, a lot of study on people, on Betfair traders in particular, and they've given us feedback about, why are you struggling with Betfair trading, or why haven't you carried on with Betfair trading, or even why aren't you doing as much Betfair trading as you want? And the number one thing people say to us, which kind of surprised us in a way, but it's kind of reassuring, is that time is the issue. So the one piece of feedback we get time and time again, I just don't have time to trade on Betfair. Okay, so what did I do? Well, about this time last year, so we're nearly a year into this, I decided I was going to kind of resolve this problem because I was so sick of hearing that people didn't have time. I was like, this isn't fair. Why should people who don't have time not be able to trade on Betfair? Why should they not be able to kind of reap the benefits and rewards that guys like me do? It doesn't seem fair. So I actually thought about set and forget betting strategies. Now, if you don't know what set and forget betting strategies are, basically it's like the old-fashioned form of betting. You just place a bet and you let it run. Okay, now it's not gambling. This is two things people get very confused about. People think gambling and betting are the same thing. That's not actually true. And it's the same with trading and gambling. They're not the same thing. The reason is that gambling, and you can look this up, there's definitions of this online. The official definitions is basically just placing a bet without really knowing whether you have an edge or not really researching it or any of that stuff. Basically just kind of taking a flyer. Have you heard that expression? Oh, I'm just having a flyer on this one. It's that kind of thing of we're taking a risk. We haven't really thought much about the risk and we're just going to hope for the best. That's not what trading is. That's not what betting is. What we do is all about having an edge on the market. What we do is all about doing the research to become good at this, to make money in the long run. And so actually set and forget betting can be really good because it's not time consuming. You just place a bet, you let it run. And most of my set and forget strategies, in fact I think all of them, revolve around pre-match. I get in before the start of a match. Now the key here is that you don't even have to be at your computer, late in the day watching a football match going, right, I need to enter at 60 minutes. You literally just can place the bets early in the morning, takes 5 minutes, bang, you're done for the day. Now I've developed some strategies for these. They've been doing well. You've probably already seen them if you're on the channel, the set and forget updates I've done over the past year. And it's exciting. We've got a lot of good things going with that, with both football and now obviously the horse racing, where we've also got a lot of good set and forget strategies there. So that kind of solves a problem. But in solving a problem, I've created a little bit of a problem, okay? Because betting is different to trading. And the main thing that's different is that you're letting the bet run till the end. Therefore, any bet you place, you are risking that stake, okay? You're risking 100% of that stake that you use, okay? Whatever that amount is. That's not true in trading. In trading, you're not really risking, well, if you're trading in and out, you're not ever risking 100% of your stake. In fact, often you're risking a lot less of it. So when we talk in terms of trading bankroll, staking management and things like that, it's different because with straight betting, it's very easy. You could get 5-10 losses in a row And it wouldn't be particularly surprising. It wouldn't necessarily even be that bad a thing, because obviously in the long run, if your variance is heading the right way in general, you'll make money. But you will get downturns of variance as well. That's kind of how variance works. And when you're letting something run, there's more likely you're going to get kind of a longer downturn on that. So we have to use our bankroll as a way of protecting ourselves. This is what this article is about, and this is what I talk more in depth about in this article. But the one thing I'm going to explain a little bit quickly here that I think is really important is this term big bets. Okay, so in poker players like to think, how many big bets do I have? And generally what that means, well, it can differ, but generally what that means is that, let's say you buy into a game in poker for £100, right? They're kind of thinking, well, how many times can I get my money in? Well, the £100 is probably your one big bet, right? So that's it. When you get that in, you're done, aren't you? If that loses, so you've got one big bet in that scenario. Now, a poker player would want to think, well, how many big bets do I want to have in my bankroll? Because if that's one and I lose that, I need to be protected. So how many big bets do I need? And often poker players, professional poker players will talk about having 200 buy-ins or 250 buy-ins, or big bets in this case. So either way, basically what it means is that their usual stake, they'll have 200 of them or 250 of them in the bank, ready to kind of protect themselves from a downswing. This is really important. You need to think about how many big bets do you want to have behind you, so that if you do hit a bad run, you're not busting out. Because we can't use a principle of using, let's say even 2% per bet, because if we have a run of 10 losses, we've lost 20% of our bankroll. And that is like, if you're set and forget betting at odds above evens, it's actually very likely you're going to get those kinds of runs eventually. So even if you've got a winning strategy, so you need to protect yourself. And the way you do that, like I say, is to have more big bets. So you might think, well, Martin, can you explain that in real terms? Okay, I will. So let's say you have a £200 bankroll and you were using 2% stakes, which is £4 per trade. Now, if you're doing set and forget bets, that's way too high. If you're using £4 for £200 bankroll, you're only giving yourself 50 big bets, and the chances are you're going to take either a big hit at one point or you're going to bust out totally. Okay, the reality is that what you want to do is protect yourself more than before. So if let's use this scenario and say we have 200 big bets. Well, this is easy to work out. If we've got a £200 bankroll and we want 200 big bets, we just use £1 stakes, which is the minimum on Betfair. So that's where we're going to kind of begin this from. Now, that can work. That works well for certain. Now, if you're backing at really high odds, you might need even more big bets. Because if you're backing at 10 plus or even 20 plus odds, well, you could go on crazy losing runs on that. You could lose 100 in a row quite easily. So you might need 1,000. You might need 500 at least. You might need 1,000 big bets. Okay, and that's kind of how you want to think about that. Now, I know most people aren't backing strategies at big odds. It tends to be around, between odds of, maybe 3.0 to heavy odds on. That's kind of what people generally go for. And in those ranges, you could use a range between 100 big bets and, maybe 250 big bets. Yeah, but that's something you've got to work out. Now, you might say to me, well, Martin, I've got £100, but it doesn't really matter. £100 isn't going to bankrupt me if I lose it. No matter who you are, £100 is not the end of the world if you lose £100 in normally, is it? So you might say, I don't mind taking a bit more of a risk. I want to use 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. Okay, that's up to you. My point is that you're not protecting that bankroll. So if that busts out and you're happy to reload and try again, that's fine. But realistically, we don't really want that to happen. I don't want to encourage people to be, losing bankrolls because of poor bankroll management. So that's the big change. The big change is you need to protect yourself more. So if you were using a 100-point bank before, turn it into a £250 one. And it really is a key piece of advice here because it protects you massively. I mean, think about it. In a scenario where you've got a 200-point bankroll, let's use that £200 one using £1 stakes. Well, if you lose 10 bets in a row, you've lost £10. Okay, you've lost 5% of your bankroll. That's not going to cripple you. You're still 95 deep, okay? Now, let's say you're using the £100 one and you're using £2 stakes, you lose 10 in a row. Like I say, you've lost 20% of your bankroll. You've done the exact same thing. This is important. You've done the exact same thing. You've made the exact same bets, but in one case you've lost 20% of your money, and in one case you've lost 5%. That's the difference. That is why bankroll management is so integral to Betfair trading. And I've seen a lot of good traders go by the wayside because they could not handle their money. They didn't manage their money properly. And I'm giving you perfect advice for traders of all abilities, amateur to pro. This is the guideline you should follow. How do I know that? Because people are telling me this all the time. The original article I wrote, which is linked in this article as well, by the way, so you can actually read both. I mean, I've had phenomenal feedback on it, and it's definitely the best blog post I've written, and I think this one is just the same. And again, I'm not trying to be arrogant because it doesn't matter to me what you guys think of me or my writing or my blog post. What matters to me is that I want to improve people at trading. Okay, that's my goal. So, and it's working. So that's why I'm happy about it. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Take your time to read the article. It's a brilliant article. I haven't really gone through it that much here, so there's plenty to digest. Hope you guys have a great week, and most importantly, I hope you make some money trading on Betfair.